Hey eaters, Eat Rob here, back with another video for you guys. And if you like what you hear today, drop us a like, hit the subscribe button below, and let's get going. Today we're going to talk about legacies. And basically what we're going to be talking about is the legacy of two men, Stan Lee and Bill Maher. And yes, I have to weigh my opinion in on this. I tried not to chime in on this, but recent comments made by Bill Maher makes it that it just dictates that I have to say something. You know, being a geek and being a comic book reader, I feel as though that I have to put my 2 cents, I gotta drop my 2 cents in it. I have to literally drop my 2 cents in it because I feel as though that Bill Maher's comments have been quite disrespectful as of late. So here's my take on it. I hope you enjoy.
Bill, I got to bring this up, and you got in a little controversy over this. When Stan Lee died, you weren't criticizing him, you were criticizing the comic book concept, right?
Of course.
Why did people get mad at you?
First of all, I just found out about this.
You just found out that people got mad?
Yeah. I'm so glad that I don't follow social media like that. Every stupid thing
They
that
had to
people
tell me today about it.
lose
so
their shit about. Yes. But talk about making my point for me. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know very much about Stan Lee, and it certainly wasn't a swipe at Stan Lee. It was.
You'd have liked him. He's a nice guy. He was
Yeah,
really
of course, fine. I'm agnostic on Stan Lee. I don't read comic books. I didn't even read them when I was a child. What I was saying is a culture that thinks that comic books and comic book movies are profound meditations on the human condition is a dumb f***ing culture. And for people to get mad at that just proves my point.
Okay, let's get one thing straight. This man has taken it upon himself to insult a man that is admired by millions and dear to all of our hearts. It would be easy for me, and I see it's quite easy for everyone else, to just lash out at him and hit him with a barrage of expletive insults in the defense of Stan Lee, you know, because Stan Lee has inspired us, well, a large group of us to be the people that we are today. And to hear someone who openly says that he's never really read comic books and was never really into it, has never actually met Stan Lee, for him to say derogatory remarks about Stan Lee, it kind of rubs us the wrong way. And I don't want everybody to just jump on him and attack him, because I'll be honest with you, I believe that's what he wants. He wants you to attack him. He wants you to hit him with the onslaughts of tweets and retweets and posts, and you know, I think he wants the attention. You know, I think we need to all sit back, and before we decide to rage out and bash this fella, let's talk about what is his exact motives for this. Like, why even weigh on anything at all, seeing as though you're not a comic book fan? You blatantly said it in an interview. You know, they said to you that Stan Lee was a good guy. He was like, well, I'm a novice on Stan Lee. So why even bother to say anything about the culture? Why even bother to say anything about Stan Lee? Why even chime in? So that actually brings us back to the question, what is his motive for even doing all this? And I'm going to tell you what I believe the motive is. Bill Maher has been with HBO for quite some time now. Since, I think 2005 to today. And he has seen success. He has seen plenty of accolades, and you know, he's been consistent over the years. You know, for someone who came from being a comedian to being a talk show host and being able to be taken seriously, I think Bill Maher was, to me, in my personal opinion, was a guy that always stood up for people. Like, he always would bring somebody on his show, and he would always give them the fifth degree. He was a no shit taken type of guy. And if you came on his show with any type of BS, he was on your case. You know, I watched a couple of episodes of Bill Maher, so all this is surprising to me to see him do things like this. So when I sit back and I ask myself, before I, because I didn't want to just lash out, I said to myself, let me check and see what's going on here. Well, this is what I come up with, okay? I believe that Bill Maher believes that, I can get clickbait. And for all those who don't know what clickbait is, he's attempting to get as much attention drawn to himself right now for any reason whatsoever. Bill Maher has been, as I said earlier, he's been a part of HBO for quite some time. Real Time with Bill Maher has been nominated for a Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Variety Series every year since 2005 till 2014. Now, he's been nominated. He has not won an Emmy ever. He is 0-26 at the Emmys. All the time at HBO, he has never won an Emmy. Not only did he not win an Emmy, he got also snubbed this year at the Emmys, in the 2018 Emmys. He did not even get nominated this year. And the only other year that happened is 2015. So, okay, let me put this out there right now. I think he has a decent show. But I think he sees his time is ending. And in order to stay relevant, he will do any and everything to stay on top. Well, to stay, at least to keep his name out there. Because let's be perfectly honest with you. There's somebody else at HBO now, buddy. There's a big dog at HBO, and his name is John Oliver. That's right. John Oliver is there, brother, and John Oliver is phenomenal. Now, he might look like Harry Potter's older stepbrother who ratted him out to Voldemort, aka Larry Potter, but, John Oliver has seen far more success than Bill Maher over the years. You have to consider that John Oliver has only been there since 2014 and has won 8 Emmys since 2014, since the show appeared, easily eclipsing Mr. Maher's 0-26 record during his tenure at HBO. Now, it's not to say that I think that John Oliver is far better than Bill Maher. I think Bill Maher is a good stand-up guy, but he has taken to himself to insult a group of people and a man whose legacy has already been cemented. Okay? When Bill Maher, at the end of the day, when he's done with his career at HBO, when he's done, his light will fade. Like, he will never be on the tongue of anybody else. Once he leaves HBO, once this incident with Stan Lee passes, no one will ever remember Bill Maher 50 years from now. I mean, there's no point in being mad at him. Let him do what he has to do to stay on top. Look, I get it. He insulted a man that, to most of us, is seen as the pinnacle of what comic books or heroism is. His words ring true to us 100%. But at the same time, we needn't worry about his legacy being harmed by an insignificant individual like Mr. Maher. He will never be able to tarnish Stan Lee's legacy. It's impossible. He doesn't have the arms to reach to the heavens to defeat someone's legacy as great as Stan Lee's. Stan Lee passed away last week, and he will forever be remembered. His quotes, his characters will live on for generations. People will know who Stan Lee is. No one will remember who Bill Maher is. No one will remember this little spat that he gave out. So let him try to stay as relevant as he possibly can. What I will say is that Bill Maher has shown himself now for what he truly is. He's not a defender of the little guy. He's not an outspoken person for the people. I'm a geek, and I'll be the first one to say this, is that, being a geek is not always easy. I know people look at it like, oh, they're just people playing dress up, or they're playing video games, or they just do things that childish things to do. But when you're ridiculed like that all the time, even when you're a teenager, even when you're adolescents, if you don't play sports, if you're getting bullied by somebody because you play video games, because you read comic books, that's not easy. That's not easy to stick to that. And Bill Maher has set himself with that group of bullies. He has shown himself to be that type of person who will be just ignorant to something simply because he does not fully comprehend it. It's an unfair and a distasteful thing for him to do that, because he's on a platform where he reaches millions of people, and he has an opportunity to touch a wider audience. He has a greater responsibility to other people. Like, whether you understand a culture or not, for you to blatantly come out and say those words, it's just it's just wrong, you know. I want to sit down and I don't understand why he would even say it at this point in time. But what I will say is that Bill Maher, instead of him being condescending about Stan Lee's passing and then ridiculing everyone that's in the comic book or geek-like, culture, he should have took his time out and maybe read a comic book, and he would have known, instead of using his platform, he would have known to use, with great power comes great responsibility. It's an easy quote to remember. It's one of the greatest quotes to remember, and it rings bells. It rings something in your head that says, you know what, he might be right. And that came from a comic book. It's not as if it came from some great novel, some great Shakespearean story. It came from a comic book. And it's not because the characters are fiction, just because the storylines, they have cheesy characters with suits and all types of weird gadgets and superpowers. We know all that's not real. But the ideal of being a hero, it's always going to be real. To be able to sacrifice yourself for someone else, it shows the measure of character, how he believes. No matter how short the story is, no matter how it's written out, everyone has something to say. Bill Maher just wasn't saying the right thing. In closing, eaters, I will say this. I don't hate Bill Maher. I'm just disappointed. And I hope everybody eat well. Have a nice holiday and keep an eye out for our content.